Hey guys, this is Rady Rogers and back with a new What If. And this is the Halloween special, although a little bit late. So yeah, and sorry I haven't been uploading. This is test week and some videos might come out late, some early. Really depends on the times for the test, and this is a free day, so yeah. And this is what if Deku had the Speed Force, or was a speedster from the Flash CW, and also Young Justice parts, because I am going to be merging the properties of the two worlds of Young Justice and MHA. So yeah, let's get started. In this world of superpowers, there are three types of humans: people with quirks, metahumans, and the 10% that is quirkless. If you're wondering how he gets his superpowers, it's after I'm gonna explain that. Deku is five. Deku is 4 years old as his parents, and his little sister, who is 1 year younger than him, are on a vacation on America, Washington D.C. Since Deku is 4 years old, they would go to the hospital to check if he has the meta gene or a quirk. As when they learn that he doesn't have one, they decide to abandon him at the airport as they do so. After a day or so, the police find him and put him into an orphanage, as he would spend his time there for at least a week. After that week, the researchers of a mysterious laboratory would go to the orphanage to gather some test subjects for the earlier tests of the cloning procedure, xenomorphs, and stuff like that. Yeah, and if you have watched the Young Justice series, you would know this is Cadmus Labs. After they collect about 5 test subjects, including Deku, Deku is placed on the wing of Flash's testing grounds, along with the other 5 test subjects, as Dr. Desmond, the one who is in the first episode, or Blockbuster as you know him now, is the one who is running the operation for the Flash, as he explains to the kids that only one of them is getting out alive, and they will be trained to the point of death. And they also had to solve the horrendous experiments that will be upon them, as he would hire Sportsmaster to train them. Their training would begin in a day, as I'm gonna say, out of the 5 children, only Deku would survive from the experiments and training, as he would be a protege in tactical combat and swordsman skills. As a year had passed, as Deku is now 5. One day, Sportsmaster would take him to the Cadmus Labs in Washington D.C., where they were just starting the birth of the Xenomorph slash Kryptonian race. Deku would be wondering why he was here, as he would ask Sportsmaster. Well, he does have a slight bit of consciousness and also free will. As Guardian would come up and explain to him that he is going to be the first experimental of Krypton, metahuman, and xenomorph fusion, which means he'll have the powers of the Flash and Superman, and also the psychic ability with xenomorphs. While the lab is being set up, Deku will be assigned to take care of a growing xenomorph, young Dubilax, the xenomorph that helps Superboy and the others escape. As he and Deku would talk about their lives in the lab, as Dubilax would comment, "You know, after this experiment, you will be a part of us, a genome, metahuman, and a Kryptonian hybrid." Deku replies, That means I would be one of you, right? One of your brothers. I would share psychic connection with you and all the other genomes. Correct. I hope you survived the experimentation. As Deku would take care of Nubilex for a few months, they sort of bonded after playing for a while. After a few months, the lab is set up as they would try to recreate, as they would get a sample from Flash's. They would get a DNA sample from Flash and examine all the chemicals that it was. Sorry about that. Was in his blood. As they would try to recreate the Flash experiment, but they couldn't get all the chemicals, so they would change some chemicals to give him some Kryptonian abilities. As they would set him up in the shocking chair with the chemicals, as it would be a stormy night. The scientists would have injected him with the Kryptonian DNA. At the same time, a weird colored lightning bolt was about to strike him, as this is the same time Reverse Flash, who had been in Flashpoint, would die from Batman, as his Speed Force energy would go to the Speed Force itself, as it would sense that a new apostle has been chosen, as it gave the energy to Deku. The lightning would have struck him, leaving him with the same coma and injuries that Barry had in the original, and turning his hair white for no fucking reason. The scientists would think that the experiment failed, but seeing that he is still alive, even though he had no heartbeat, he would still be comatose for the 9 months, but the scientists moved him to a new base in Metropolis to understand his powers while he is knocked out. Oh, sorry. While he is knocked out, he would be put in a healing pod as to accelerate his awakening to 7 instead of 9 months, as they would have been trying to implement the memories of the world and also a basic list about his powers, as they would figure out he had Flash's super speed with one part of Superman's speed, which is almost the Flash's speed, half of Superman's durability, and the ability to shoot optic lightning blasts from his eyes. And don't forget Flash's super regeneration. After 5 months, the Justice League would figure out about Base Beta in Metropolis. Well, they wouldn't know it was Cadmus, because it's Base Beta for reasons. If you're wondering how the Justice League would have known this, it was after Batman hacked Lex Luthor's computer for like 5 minutes, but he couldn't get all the info he would have wanted. As they would have learned of Project Slash, which is his code name, by the way. Yeah, he would have learned sword fighting. Like in the thumbnail, you see him as an older figure with swords. Yeah. They raided the base in the sixth month, arresting all the personnel. Guardian, who was watching Deku, sorry, not Guardian, Sportsmaster, who was watching Deku, would have had to retreat, but not before erasing his memories of the past year, because he doesn't want Deku telling them about Cadmus and Superman's clone that they were making. A match, if you know what that means. Batman, Flash, and Superman find his body in the pod as they see the info about him, seeing that he's a metahuman and a Kryptonian, having the powers of both Flash and Superman. As they were taking his body to the League's basement, as Batman would give them the info of who he was before Base Beta found him. Unlike in the original, Superman isn't weirded out by him, he's just sad. And whenever Barry or the Flash looks at him, whether he's in his has his mask off or mask on. I'm gonna call him Barry or Flash. Looks at Deku and he sees himself as a child. So the Flash volunteers to look over him for one more month until he woke up. When he woke up, all he saw was the Flash there, watching him as Deku asked where he was. Barry, who was watching him, would call the Justice League. A bit later, all the members would arrive as Batman would ask Deku if he knows anything of what happened. As Deku replies by saying, "Only abilities, training, and experiments." Batman would ask, "Then, do you remember anything about your family?" Deku would answer, "The only thing I remember is I was abandoned in Washington Airport. Reason, I was quirkless." As the Flash is even more sad to hear about that, as Batman asks of what experiments Beta did to Deku, as Deku would say the merging of Flash's and Superman's powers. Experiment 40%, sorry, not 40%, 4% success rate. And he was the first unit. Result of experiment was 40% successful. Drawback, memory loss. As Batman would ask, then what are your abilities? Only known abilities are super speed of the Flash, half the durability of Superman, super regeneration, and optic lightning blasts, with a quarter of the strength of Superman, as all of them are shocked. Superman asked Izuku if he was a Kryptonian or a metahuman, as Deku replied by saying, "Third metahuman, one quarter Kryptonian, and the rest is xenomorph." Now please answer my question, where am I? As the Flash says, "This is the basement of the Hall of Justice." As Deku said, "Is that so? Then can you tell me what is my purpose?" As the whole league is confused. Deku asks the question again, as the league doesn't know what to say, as Batman asks Martian Manhunter to look in his memories, as John does so, and Deku is knocked out in the procedure. After the procedure, John, or Martian Manhunter, explained to Batman that he saw his memories they were they were some things that he would have rather erased of Deku, as Batman gave him the order to erase all the memories of his childhood at Base Beta, as Martian Manhunter would do so, and also remove the memories of his. Sorry, wait, no. Yeah, okay, that's all he does. After this, the League is contemplating on whether putting Deku in an orphanage or letting him live with one of them. Batman tells them that they can't leave him in an orphanage, since if they do, Base Beta could just find him and use him as a weapon. So the only option for them is to have him live with one of them, as Barry steps up before anyone else could say anything. Batman asks why the Flash would want to do it, as he explains that he knows the feeling of growing up alone, and he wants to help Izuku have a normal childhood, and maybe teach him how to use your powers. As the whole league thinks about this, Green Arrow speaks up and says, "I have no problem." Superman, "Me neither," as all the league members accept that Flash could take care of him. Barry's excited. Batman says, "Then it's decided. The Flash will have to take care of Izuku Midoriya." As Flash says, "This will be a breeze. I already have two troublemakers back at home, so it'll be nice to have an addition to the family." And if you're wondering who these two troublemakers are, they're the Tornado Twins. Yeah, I know they were introduced in Season 3, but Inside Monster actually gave me this idea for them. So yeah. as the Flash would call his wife Iris to explain the situation, as she would have agreed to adopt Deku after hearing his story. With Deku, he would have just woken up as he recalls nothing about the past year, as he would only remember his training abilities and the memories implanted about the world, like basic study stuff. He tries to get out of the tube as he uses his super speed to vibrate out of the tubes, and he got out eventually after a while. After that, he started to test his powers as he ran out of the Hall of Justice in a green turquoise streak of lightning, as he would explore the place. Meanwhile, the oh, Flash or Barry would be looking for Deku, as he didn't find him in the basement anymore. Green Arrow would call the Flash as Green Arrow would call the Flash in comms, as he would tell the Flash if he's running around the halls. As the Flash replies, no, not really. What color is the lightning? Mix of turquoise and green. And where are you? By the way, where are you? The Flash responds, I'm in the basement. Well, come to the training room. He is using on your treadmill. As the Flash says, I'll be right there, as he runs to the training room to see Green Arrow watching Deku run on the Flash's treadmill. As Arrow says, you're finally here. The Flash asks, how long has it been like this? 3 or 4 minutes, give or take. It's pretty interesting to watch him. He's been quiet this whole time. I'll talk to him, as the Flash stops the treadmill from moving, as he would ask what Deku's name was. Deku is a bit hesitant, but tells Arrow and the Flash what his name is as Izuku. The Flash asks, anything you remember? Nope. I was wondering if you could tell me what my last name was. As Barry would give him the last name Allen. Izuku West Allen. I'm naming that. As he would ask, oh, and what's your name? As Flash would say, Barry Allen. Deku is confused and asks if they're related, as Barry would explain in a way, but he's sort of his adopted son. And speaking of which, how did you get out from your pod? As Deku said, I faced with the molecules of the glass that was containing me. For some reason, it seems like my abilities are etched in my head, along with a bunch of other stuff. Other stuff? The Flash comments. Like maths, English, science, all kinds of stuff. Is that so? As Barry says in an interesting tone. Green Arrow chimes up and says, hello? I don't want to be interrupting anything, but shouldn't you report him to Batman or Superman? Right, I totally forgot, as Barry face palms. He tells Deku to follow him as he runs to where Batman is with Deku behind him by a meter. They get to Batman, who was in the med bay, as Flash tells Batman that Izuku had woken up, as Batman tells the Flash to tell Deku to sit down on the the chair, as Batman examines him. After the examination, Batman tells the Flash something that Deku could not hear, as Batman would tell the Flash that Deku has an accelerated growth rate. Very shocked about that. Barry asks, what does that mean? As Batman would explain, well, it seems as though that he was made to be the perfect soldier. He has an accelerated growth rate of, but let's say he's 11 right now. He would have a body of a 15-year-old. when he's actually 15, he would only age 2 more years up. As the Flash, as the Flash would say that so. After a few seconds, he tells Batman something as Batman replies by, sorry, as Batman tells something else to the Flash as he is even more shocked about this. As Batman replies as Barry's expression goes back to normal. After a few seconds, he tells Batman something as Batman replies by saying that could work. After the encounter with Batman, Izuku and sorry, uh, Barry would take Izuku to his brand new home as he asked the Flash what they were doing here. The Flash would explain that this would be where Izuku would live from now on. As he opened the door to the house, as Deku sees Iris West, the young Justice one, and his two kids who seem to be a year older than Deku, as Barry would introduce them to Izuku as his new family. Deku would be hiding behind Barry's leg because he's still shy and sort of hesitant because he remembers some of the things from Cadmus. As Iris would try to get him to come out, as Barry would say that that's Iris, your new mother, and those two next to her are your older siblings, Don and Don Don Allen, or the Tornado Twins as I call them, as they run to Deku at super speed and ask him some questions about his name, is he a metahuman, a person with a quirk, Quirkus, as they would berate him with questions. Deku would be trying to answer them. Barry would intervene as he would tell the twins that they should give their new brother some space as they should show him to the guest room. Who would still be defensive towards everyone except Barry because he was actually someone he trusts, well sort of. As they would tell Deku to follow them. As they ran upstairs with Deku following them showing him to the guest room. He thanks them as he goes into the room. Meanwhile, downstairs, Barry explains to Iris that Deku has an accelerated growth cycle, as he would explain that. As Iris would ask one more question. Did you learn anything about Izuku's family? As Barry would say in a sad look, he was abandoned on purpose and was taken as a test experiment. Out of the 5 children, he was the only one who survived. We had removed some of his memories because of the brainwashing. Oh, so is that why you adopted him? I didn't want to feel alone like I did when I was a kid. His communicator rings. As Barry says, duty calls as he puts on his costume and goes to the Justice League. He skipped 6 years as Deku is now 11, as he would be 15 physically and 11 chronologically, which means he would have the body of a 15-year-old. And during this time, Deku would have warmed up to his new family as he would treat them like family. His personality would be like serious outside of his house, serious and cold outside of his house, but with his friends or family, he is like a combo of Robin and Aqualad with a bit of Kid Flash. So a bit of jokey, happy, and also serious. And he would have also figured out his full powers with him being able to shoot lightning beams out of his eyes, and also as well having super durability. And also he would have met Kid Flash or Wally West because Barry would have introduced him to Izuku, and they would be good friends, along with Robin and Aqualad Speedy because he would have been doing vigilante work with the Flash and Wally. Like when he was 10, when his massive growth spurt began. So he would do various missions with Kid Flash and the Flash. And his hero name would be Sonic Slash because he would defeat his enemies with a sword. And Barry would have had to explain to him about his ghost bird, saying that that's something that would happen to him either way. Deku was pretty suspicious of the answer, but let's let go for now. One day, Kid Flash, and Sonic Slash are fighting Captain Cold as says enough of this as he shouts to Kid Flash, "Hey Kid Flash, double tornado!" As Wally replies, "Got it, Sonic," as both of them spin around Captain Cold until they form a tornado, and eventually knocking Captain Cold out because of the asphyxiation. As Flash says, "Why the rush?" as Izuku and Wally look at him, as both of them says, "Today's the day, and we don't have no time to waste." "Just calm down a bit," as Wally says. "We both know that you'll just stay here and be buddy with the police, even Captain Cold." As Flash says, "Fine, let's go," as all three of them run to the hall. When they arrive, they see that the other sidekicks are already there, as Wally exclaims, "I knew we'll be the last ones." As Deku says, "You were last. I was a parsecond faster." As Deku and the Flash were already ahead of him. "Nice of you to finally show up," as Robin says. They see Robin, Aqualad, and Speedy as Deku apologizes, and he said, "Sorry, Dad was trying to chat it up with Cold and the police. It's fine. At least you're here. Today's the day we finally become members of the Justice League," as they're all excited. They start to walk towards the hall as reporters and paparazzi are on the roads taking pictures of them. Robin says, "Finally, we're going to the Hall of Justice for the first time. I cannot wait," as Aqualad said. Technically my second time, Deku says. What do you mean second time? "Well, I was here when I was 5 years old," as Wally said. "That's not true," as Green Arrow says. It's true, alright. I watch him run on the cosmic treadmill and run around the hall over and over again. His old sidekicks are pretty jealous of him, and Speedy asked why Deku was there. Deku said, "Don't know, just appeared there all of a sudden." "So you don't remember how you got there?" "No, not really. When I asked Dad, he said he'll tell me when I'm older, and I'm still waiting." As Batman says, "We are here," as they enter the Hall of Justice, and they would still be brought to the lounge area. As Batman says, make yourselves at home," as they make themselves comfortable. And Speedy would still be mad and reveal them about the Watchtower, and would still quit as Green Arrow's sidekick. And after that ordeal, Superman would show up on comms as he would still ask for help to stop the fire at Cadmus. As Batman would say, this might be an opportunity to investigate Cadmus because of the... As Batman would say, this might be the perfect opportunity to investigate Cadmus. There have been some strange activities from them. Well, as we know after we found, as the Flash stops him for saying it. But then Zatara shows up on screen and asks them for help from the whole league, as Batman says, "Next time, I guess," as they go help Zatara. And Robin and Aquila and Izuku ask them to take them with them, but just like in Canon, says they would refuse and leave. After, as they would still doubt the league's decisions, as Aqualad would say, The better question is, why didn't we leave it Speedy? Deku said, why don't we investigate Cadmus? What? As all of them explains. Why don't we investigate Cadmus? I mean, if the league doesn't think we're ready, then why don't we prove to them we're ready? As Robin thinks. Yeah, we should. I mean, if we don't, the league would just treat us like sidekicks again. Kid Flash says. Well, Aqualad, I don't think it's a bad plan, and it would for sure prove to Aquaman that you're a worthy successor. As Aqualad sighs as he asks Robin, where is this Cadmus? As Robin says, we can hack the league's computer to know what the league knows about Cadmus. As Robin still hacks the league computer and finds out what he did in the original. As they would go to Cadmus Labs in the original. KF for Kid Flash would say those two scientists and would still enter the base. But instead of Aqualad seeing Dublax, Deku sees Dublax as he starts to get memories of his past. As images of him and Dublax playing are in his head. Wally asks him if he's okay as Deku says, I'm fine, but I saw someone in the elevator. Robin says, that isn't right. For a 2-story building like this, there shouldn't even be an elevator. As they go into it. As they go in to see that it lays all the way down. As Robin attaches a grappling hook to the ceiling. As all of them slides down. After they get there, Kid Flash runs into the Geno Trolls. As they would alert Guardian, who reports to Desmond. Meanwhile, the 4 heroes would still find the power room as they would find about the genomorph cloning. As they find 6 different categories. As Robin exclaims, whoa, this is unraveling. As he searches the files. So that's why you can find this place. It's completely off the grid. It powers itself. Wait, what's that? As Kid Point flashes. As they see Project KR. As they wonder what KR is about. As Deku is starting to get more memories. As he remembers Dublax saying, I heard from a genome that after they're done with your experiment, they're planning on making a clone of Superman. As Deku steps back a bit, he says, what the? Yo, Deku, yo, Izuku, you okay? As Kid Flash says, yeah, I'm fine. As Robin finds something strange as he tells everyone to come and look. They see Project Fusion Slash. They see pictures of what seems to be a white-haired boy who looks like Izuku, but younger as Robin reads the bio. Young boy Salvin from Washington local orphanage. Izuku Midoriya, or codename Slash, is the only test subject to survive Project Fusion. Slash was the best test subject, had the perfect body, was the perfect assassin, and the perfect vessel. The idea was to fuse the genomorph body with the DNA of Superman, and the experiment that gave the Flash his powers. We tried it with many others, but no one succeeded. Slash was surprisingly the only one who succeeded. We tried to clone him several times, but a clone would barely survive for even 1 hour. No matter the quirks, no matter the human genes, no matter the quirkless test subject we brought in, nothing worked. Well, during Project Slash's incubation period, the Justice League raided the base. But before the predecessor to all of this, all the clones, all the genomes, all the genomorphs, Slash was awakened. He was supposed to be their teacher, their brother, and their leader, but the Justice League took him and made him into one of their sidekicks. We have tried to recreate him multiple times, but all have failed. It would seem that he was the only one who could survive, who had survived. And that's why we stopped the experiments. We were losing too many test subjects. And the Kid Flash looks at Deku and says he's okay. Deku is frozen in place, remembering his past at Base Beta and Cadmus. Sonic, as Aquila tries to get him into reality, but in a blink of an eye, the door behind him was blown, as Guardian sends the Geno elves to capture the four sidekicks. As Robin tells Aquila to grab Deku and they have to go to level 52. As they make it level 52, and like in canon, Dubelix would try to stop him, but the team would still get past him, as they would fight Superboy. And they would still free him. They would try to free him. And during this time, Aqualad and Kid Flash would try to snap Deku out of his episode, as he would finally go into reality, as he would ask where they were, as his head hurts a bit. Kid Flash would explain the situation to him, as he says, is that so, as he stands up. We need to get Superboy out of there. Agreed, but I'm having a hard time hacking the system, as Robin is trying to hack it. Let me handle this, as he inputs some of his own commands into the pod. Pod's controls, as the pod opens. Robin asks how Deku did that, as he said, we were lucky. Cadmus or Beta never changed their passwords in the past 6 years. Should really double down on security once in a while. After a few seconds, Superboy opens his eyes as he is still in a frenzied state, as he would knock out Robin, Aqualad, and Kid Flash, but Deku and him having a fight, as Superboy is gaining the upper hand while Deku is dodging and evading, as he is trying to establish a psychic link with him, but Superboy knocks him out as well, and like in canon, they would be captured and prepped for cloning. As when Deku is put in the cloning tubes, it says, non-applicable, cannot continue the cloning procedure, must abort, Project Slash cannot be replicated, as he is released from the shocking tubes. After he gets out, he says in a deep voice, "You're going to pay for what you did," as Desmond and Guardian, who was looking in the security cameras, would recognize the system failure, as Desmond would say, Project Slash. And also during this time, Superboy would be making his way to the cloning chamber, as when Deku got out, the door would still crash upon the scientist, as Deku would say, nice to see you too, cousin. Superboy would be confused. I'll explain later, and thanks, as both of them would free Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad, as they would make their escape, as instructions of where to go would be implemented in Superboy's and Deku's head, as Dubulak would still lead them to where all the Xenomorphs were. Dubulak would be happy to see Deku, as he would say the same things he did in the original, like he was the one who started the fire. Superboy needs to live his life outside, and yeah, as all of them would still get out to fight Blockbuster and destroy the upper part of the Cadmus facility, and all the fight would go easier with Deku using his optic lightning beams and also his swords, with one extra person. As when the Justice League shows up, the same speech with the 5 of them, like in canon, would happen with Kid Flash and Deku pulling the Flash aside, as Deku would have told him about what he remembered, and why the Flash never told him about why he had memory loss. As the Flash would say that was because The league was afraid that he would be a mindless drone again. Well, I mean, if you had become a mindless drone, I would have never forgiven myself. And that's why we had Martian Manhunter as some of your earliest memories, so you wouldn't be traumatized. So does Aunt Iris know about this? Sorry. So does Iris know about this, as Wally says? Yeah, I told her a few months after. Then what about the twins? Until they're old enough. Well, heroes. Don't you remember their promise? Don't you remember their promise? Yeah. After they graduate from college. After they finish school. Makes sense. So what are you gonna do with us? As the Flash says, that's for Batman to decide. As after the events of Cadmus, like 2 days after, Deku would have explained to Superboy about them being sort of related, as Superboy is happy with that answer. If Superman's not going to accept him, that Deku would. 2 days later, they would be called to Mount Justice as Batman would tell them that Batman would say, "You're probably wondering why you're here. It's because I and the League had eventually conceded to the idea and opted to turn you into a group of teen heroes, into the Justice League's covert Black Ops team, as this is your new base of operations, Mount Justice." As the 5 sidekicks start to cheer, as Batman says, "Red Tornado volunteered to look after you all, and I will be checking once every week." As all of them are excited for this. As Batman says, and one more thing. And one more thing. I need to introduce you to your new teammate." As Wally says, "New teammate? Everyone, meet Magan Maors, the niece of Martian Manhunter." And liking canon, she would take a liking to Superboy. So yeah. On July 22, Batman's first mission for the team involved them going to the island of Santa Prisca to investigate a mysterious activity involving the neo-steroid Venom. Prior to leaving, Robin asked Batman who would lead, but Batman and Red Tornado both opted to let the team figure that out for themselves. The mission would go like in canon, with all of them going for recon and Santa Prisca and Bane. The fights would go faster with Aqualad and Deku leading the team, as it would go faster in canon and would be more easier. After the mission, they would arrive at Mount Justice, as Batman would say the team failed to perform the recon that they had initially been ordered to do, but they did keep Bane and Cobra from succeeding in their schemes, to which Batman commended for them. And the team decided that their leader would be Aqualad, and also they would let Deku be a vice captain for both of the leadership skills in the mission. After several missions, Batman and Green Arrow noticed Artemis, who had been following the team in the fight against Amazo, and offered her membership, as Artemis would be enlisted in the team, and her encounter with the team would go more or less the same, with Wally and her having a shaky start. During a solo mission, Red Arrow, Sonic Slash, and Aqualad learned from Sportsmaster, and if you're wondering how his costume looks like, it's like in canon. Learned from Sportsmaster that there was a mole in the team, feeding them information to their enemies. The three would investigate. After the mission, Aqualad and Deku offered their friend membership, but Red Arrow declined, despite admitting the team had earned his respect. Okay, so on September 10th, Batman sent the team to Biala, where they had encountered Simon, who had blocked their memories of the prior 6 months. Superboy was left with no memories at all and was captured and tortured. The mind control didn't work on Deku because he had a certain level of mind shielding. as he would end up in the middle of the desert. He would look for Aqualad or anyone that was there as he ran the whole desert, and he found Aqualad a while later. A bit later, he would also find the team as Miss Margin would explain to him what they were doing to Superboy. It's like in canon, Miss Margin rescued him and restored his memories, and he took Spear as a pet. Later, Aqualad invited Superboy and Miss Margin to visit Atlantis with him, and they met Calder's parents, then went to the capital where they helped toward Ocean Master's plot to steal Queen Mara's powers. Superboy and Megan began school after that. Megan provided Superboy with the name Connor for the occasion, while Martian Manhunter suggested the name Kent for him. October 10th, the team was sent to destroy a central control system being used by the Injustice League to attack a number of cities worldwide with a giant blast. They successfully destroyed the control plan, and the subsequent arrival of the Justice League was enough to force their enemies to surrender. And after this, Red Tornado, Red Torpedo, and Red Inferno would attack would still happen, and Red Tornado would escape with his two siblings. And after that, the team was introduced to Zatanna as they went on an unauthorized mission to find Red Tornado. They discovered that Robot had not betrayed them, and together with Red Inferno and Red Torpedo, they were able to destroy Red Volcano and prevent the Yellowstone super volcano from devastating the planet. After Zatanna's turn as Dead Mother was over, Zatara returned to the cave with his daughter, Zatanna, in the hopes of getting her trained by Black Canary. And he was infuriated when the team quote-unquote kidnapped her, and Black Canary had her hands full, reassuring him. She failed, however, as Zatara threatened to ground his daughter for life. Superboy and Miss Margin would have still been sent on the mission to infiltrate Belle Reve Penitentiary as posing as the Terror Twins. They successfully prevented the breakout attempt and also had their first kiss. Okay, yeah. Now we're getting to the end of the first season. November 7th, when Clarion, Blackbar, Thorn, Felix Faust, Wizard, and Wotan cast a spell on Drown Rock Island, the team saw Zatara, Batman, and Red Tornado disappear. To Zatara, Batman, and Red Tornado, the team had disappeared. Zatara, Batman, and Red Tornado learned from Captain Marvel that the spell separated the Earth into two dimensions. One for older persons, older than 18 of age, and one for those younger. Captain Marvel's alias of Billy Batson also relayed this information to the team. The energies were tracked to Run Rock Island. Zatara joined Batman and Red Tornado in the fight against Black Bear, Thorn, Felix, Faust, Wizard, and Wotan on Run Rock Island. In the adult dimension, Zatara discovered the source of the magic was in a mystical gem in the center of the Sorcerer's Pentagram, and it was retrieved by Captain Marvel and Kid Flash at the end, and he merged Zatara and Zatanna, the latter donned Helmet of Fate, to amplify her magic abilities, and after defeating the sorcerers, Nabu refused to give up Zatanna as his host buddy, arguing that she was the ideal host due to her affinity for magic. Zatara persuaded him and asked him to take him instead, as he was a far greater sorcerer than his daughter. And after Zatara gave his word to Nabu, and Nabu agreed. And so this arc would go like in canon with Zatanna being the Doctor of Fate, and yeah, Zatanna moving to Kane with the team after her father was taken as a permanent husband Nabu. Later, Superboy would be called back to Cadmus as he would take Deku with him, because he would have told him about it, and since he's also an experiment like him. And Deku wanted to check on the Xenomorphs, and they would still find Match, Superboy's imperfect clone, as Lex Luthor would still give Superboy his shields, and also give Deku his red and black flash symbols, as Lex Luthor would say it take it as a gift from him, and that'll allow both of them to awaken the full Kryptonian powers. Both Deku and Superboy would take care of Match, and Lex Luthor would still meet up with the both of them under the bridge, as Deku would ask why he kept Match a secret, as Lex Luthor would still give the same answer as in canon. When Deku and Superboy are going to step in, Lex Luthor still says the code word for Superboy being Red Sun, and for Deku being Cicada. Flash Season 5 shall bear speed, as Lex Luthor would still get away. During this time, Red Arrow would have been elected to the Justice League, and to set a right example, Green Arrow told him to join the team before being abducted. This did not sit well with Artemis because of Red Arrow, and in the meantime considered a good opportunity to investigate the identity of the mole. He eventually concluded there was none, and Sportsmaster had deceived them. December 10th, Red Arrow would have implanted the Star or mind control tech into the Justice League, as per normal. When Red Tornado, Black Canary, and Shazam arrived, the team would have still had to fight them, with the fight going similar but easier, with Deku taking care of Red Tornado by slicing him in half before he could do any damage. And a while later, the light would still ask Artemis and Superboy, Miss Martian, and this time Deku to meet them for that whole initiation thing into the light. As when they're in Mount Justice, Superboy would call a team meeting as he says, Alright, I have something I want to tell you all. We both do, as Deku steps in. As they explain about the shields, as Megan would say, I also have something to confess, as she would show them her true form. And after that, Artemis would reveal her thing, as Robin would tell them he knew. They would still meet up with the Light, as the Light explains their plan about the Star Tech and the mind control, as the team would put a stop to the meeting, and with the help of Deku, capture some of the weaker villains, as they would have still had the same plans to infiltrate the Watchtower, and the fight with the Justice League would go fast, as Deku and Wally could easily plant the cure. His Deku with his slow-mo moves, and Wally with his super speed. And the fight with Brandel Savage would also go similar to it in canon, with it going easier because of Deku, yeah. As the New Year timer would still happen, and the kissing thing with all of them would happen, except Deku because he's like 11 with the body of a 15-year-old. As he would feel left out. After the Watchtower raid, they would consult with Red Arrow, as he would decide to fight the real Roy Harper as he would leave. And now the 5-year time skip would begin, but this is where I'm leaving it off. And like always, if you have the time, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and leave a comment on what you want me to do next. And bye. And sorry if the mic quality is pretty bad, I'm doing this in a rush. So yeah.